If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyle and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyle Financial Group. Before we get started, Steve and Derrick, welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Excellent. We're looking forward to a good time with you on the radio. Thanks for having us on.
I'm doing great, thanks.
Now, one of the most confusing parts of getting ready for retirement is all the mixed messages that we hear in the media. For example, follow me here. There was a writer for Business Insider. He posted a story saying 2025 would see a third year in a row of 20% growth. On that same day, that same publication, that same writer posted another story warning investors saying, brace for a correction this year. So it seems as though the reporter really is just trying to cover all of his bases. So no matter what happens, he's got some material out there. But how do you help your clients find that balance between protection and growth and really, find that sweet spot for them?
First thing I'm going to say is take everything with a grain of salt. And if I could teach everybody, this is what I try to teach my kids too. If I could teach everybody one thing is always look at it. What is in it for them? In this case, he's hunting for click. Mm-hmm. So you got two sides of the aisle on the financial spectrum. One that thinks, hey, it's going to blow up. The other one thinks it's going to crash. So he's making sure he gets both sides of that argument and gets all the clicks you can ever need. So the same thing when you're on Facebook or anywhere else, guys. You don't take your car and sit it on the side of the road, get out, turn on Facebook, and get an idea of how to fix your car. Maybe YouTube.
God, I hope not.
Well, you do, but you don't.
Yeah. I use YouTube for tricks and everything too, but if your skill level is not where it needs to be, don't think a YouTube, little 5-minute thing is going to turn you into the mechanic of the year, right? So there's a reason we take our cars to professionals. There's a reason we put our retirement in a professional's hands. This is just something that we've seen blow up since COVID, really, is, you get on anywhere, whether TikTok, YouTube, wherever, and there's some guy talking about a gold IRA, somebody talking about some other investment. And guys, there's good stuff out there all around, but it's about diversification and it's about customization. That's what it all boils down to, is custom plans for your life. You will never hear it out of our mouth that, hey, everybody needs an annuity. Everybody needs gold. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs this, because that is 100% falsehood. And if they are saying that, then they're trying to sell you something. Right, Steve? You've been around for, 36 years, Steve? How many advisors have you seen come and go?
People come see us all the time. I met the neatest young man at XYZ. Oh, how long has he been there? Well, he's been in the business a year and a half or maybe 3 years. I laugh and say, I'm old now. I started doing this when I was 25. Was your advisor here in the year 2000 when nothing happened? And then you say, was your advisor here in 2008 when everything happened? Your advisor may remember what happened in the COVID, but we've had a lot of crazy things happen, Derrick, and I don't know. It just kind of makes you question it and, are you in for the long haul? I think that's a huge thing, Derrick. I think the other thing is we want our clients to have a long-term strategy. Not be focused on today. Of course, today matters, but what is it, 5 years, 10 years? Derrick, we're seeing our clients in the retirement phase 35 and 40 years now. It's huge.
There's no cookie cutter approach, guys. Yeah. And I'll be honest, bad financial advisors, you get cookie cutter approaches. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're going to be stuck in this portfolio. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do bonds, annuity, this much in, brokerage, whatever it may be. And they don't take into account how much risk you want to take, because everybody's different, but also what financial vehicles you want to take advantage of, because there's different strokes for different folks, right?
I think so often, Derrick. I love to say, did you plan to fail or fail to plan? I think the other thing that makes us different at Hoyle Financial, we're a full-service firm, but we really focus on people for that final phase of life called retirement. We're retirement planners, and I think that's the difference. That's where the rubber meets the road. People come to see us, Derrick, and they want to talk about their money, but they have absolutely no idea what they're going to do in retirement. So it's 25% about the numbers, 75% about the emotions. But, we help our clients go back and start at square one. What do you want to do in retirement? If you want to stay home and watch soap operas and hang out with your grandkids, that's fantastic, but it's not going to take as much money if you want to travel 50 states or Europe or buy a new house or an RV. So we need to mirror what your goals, your hopes and dreams are to your retirement plan. And then there's the client that retires, Derrick. We get the plan all in place, and they're driving around. They went to Dairy Queen. On the way home, they saw an open house, and it's a great house. We thought it was a great deal.
Oh my gosh.
And the realtor said, we have a couple other offers coming. So they make not a full price, but a full price plus $10,000 more.
Woo!
And they need to figure out how to pay for that house on Monday. It happens all the time, doesn't it, Derrick?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes we're the emergency preparedness people that's like, hey, Derrick, my wife is want to get this new, Land Rover or something, and where do I get the money from again?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But that all comes back about travel or big purchases and all that kind of stuff. That all comes back to having a plan in place. And I want to make sure our listeners understand having a plan is not, well, I got a 401k, I have an IRA, I got some inheritance, great, whatever. If it's in your brain, a plan is black and white on a piece of paper where you can see it. It's tangible. You see how your money's working for you, not against you, but also you have those backup plans, the plan B, C, et cetera. And you're exactly right. I mean, when it comes to financial planning, it should be common sense that nothing is cookie cutter because everyone's situation is different. My wants and needs or desires are different than your wants and needs or desires. Therefore, the price tag's going to be different.
A good example of this is I met with a new client we just took on, and our second meeting, he talks about, taking withdrawals when he retires and everything. And so he gives me this number, and I'm like blown away. And I'm like, okay, so let's walk through this. And I asked him point blank, and I said, hey, well, how long do you plan to live? And, by that second meeting, we're generally pretty cordial, that kind of thing, and get to know each other. And he's like, Derrick, come on, buddy, as long as I can. And I said, well, if you take out that amount of money, you won't make it to 80, buddy. Yeah. And he was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, guys, his withdrawal rate, which is how much money you take out of your retirement accounts, his withdrawal rate was 10.6% annually.
Wow. That's huge. Yeah. People don't realize how it adds up.
Yeah, and Jess, that goes along exactly what you were saying is he had this plan in his head before he came to see us that his Social Security and his withdrawal from his retirement account was going to give him X amount of dollars that he wanted in retirement. But he never put pen to paper. He never put a real plan in place. That was just like, hey, that's a good plan. It's easy. It's done. And 10.6%, I told him absolutely not. There's not an advisor in the world that would tell you to take that much. It really opened his eyes as to, hey, this is X amount of dollars. This is what we're planning out. And he actually still decided to retire. He was just planning on taking gigantic vacations, Steve. Like he was all over the place. And we willed it back to one vacation a year. And so he was happy, but it made financial sense and it was a sound plan. And that's what people need a lot of times is just hey, this is what makes sense. I know you have that feeling that you want to do this, but this is what makes sense. And sometimes it's eye-opening, but we're going to give you 100% God's honest truth every time you walk into Whole Financial.
Steve, one of your favorite places on the planet, Starbucks, says that the days of sitting there working and just people watching without a care in the world, without buying anything, is over. It's all over. You got to spend $10 for a coffee. You're going to be there.
It's crazy. As y'all know me well, I don't sit very long, so they don't have to worry about me sitting there much. I'm kind of always on the move. But, when Hillary went to TCU, her first semester, she came home. We were looking at her numbers, and I don't remember how much it was, but she had spent a ton of money at Starbucks. I'm like, wait, we can't afford this. And she's like, Dad, everybody studies at Starbucks. Okay. And so I remember going back to the office and telling everybody. And so for Christmas, they all gave her a Starbucks a credit card because her dad was being so unreasonable. But, I go to Starbucks and I get coffee, but I get the regular brewed coffee with steamed almond milk, and it's $3.25.
Good for
and
you.
I don't ever get any more than that. But
well, good. Now you're allowed to stay there, people watch, go to the bathroom, whatever you want to do. I know a lot of places, they're for real about it. They're like, you have to have a code to get to the bathroom. It's a whole thing.
I grew up though, like, and I'm sure you did, Steve. Like, you don't do that.
No.
If you go in an establishment,
You buy something.
you're gonna. Yeah, you buy something, and so that kind of blows me away. And like
Kids
how do you
today.
Sure.
yeah, I guess so.
Their
but,
loud
I mean,
music and their coffee.
on the
you
flip
know.
side of that, if you're a coffee shop, that's part of doing business, right? That's the cost of doing business. Is people are going to sit there for an hour or whatever, drink coffee. As long as they're buying coffee, I don't see any problem with that or anything. I mean, you got to pay. Nothing is free in life.
Exactly. I was just going to get to that. Nothing is free in life, whether it's sitting at Starbucks or anything else. And, here's the deal. Some might balk at the new policy, when they've been using this whole free service for a long time at Starbucks. But it got me thinking about what you guys do. What would you say to someone who's hesitant about maybe working with you because of the advisor fees, because they've relied on things like online tools and DIY investing that's free? What do you say to that?
Nothing's free. I'll second that, but I'll tell you, like, it's one of those things, guys. You get what you pay for, and it's also, it goes to where do you work, right? We have a wide client base that anywhere from engineers and farmers to anything. And I'll tell you, my farmer clients get started on the pesticides and growth rates and all this stuff they talk about. I am lost, guys. I know that you plant corn in the ground, and that's the extent of my knowledge. It's the same thing with investing. Everybody listening here, you have a tremendous skill set at your job, and so do we. But you most likely cannot produce the kind of results that somebody that is in our profession does, because guess what? You're seeing grandkids. You are working. You're doing all these things that we do as a full-time job, just like I couldn't do your job and do mine at the same time, right? It makes perfect sense. That's why you pay advisor fees for somebody to manage your accounts and produce it. But I'll tell you two different ways, guys. Nobody likes fees. Doesn't matter who you are. But if I get results, I will happily write that check to people. But hold your advisors accountable. If you are not happy with results and the fees you're getting charged, go talk to them right now. Get off the phone or you call us, and I'll tell you how their fees stack up in the scheme of things and performance. We can do a portfolio review, and I will be happy to do side-by-side comparisons and just tell you, hey, this is good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be. But don't just sit there and take fees and be unhappy with an account. You got to be proactive about that. And anything in life, if you're not getting what you pay for, get out.
And I think the other thing, Derrick, I'll take it one step further. We have so many people call our firm each and every day, have not heard from their advisor in months, sometimes years. And what we do is we stay in touch with our clients. It's all about the concierge service that we give our clients. You call us, we're going to call you back. Also, we're going to be in touch with you. We're going to call you. We want you to come in and do a review. We want to continue to help you because what we're doing at Hoyle Financial, we're partnering with you for your retirement.
Now, here's the deal. When it comes to planning for retirement, we got two things here. The number one fear is running out of money. So we want to alleviate that, right? We want the proper income planning. And along with that income planning, a lot of folks think that there's some crazy magic number out there that if you reach this amount, you're good for retirement and you're good to never run out of money. One of the most common magic numbers that you see out there is $1 million. Well, I recently came across an advice column where this man was in his 70s and he wrote that his goal is to become a millionaire before he leaves this world. He has about $768,000, but really wants to hit that $1 million benchmark. And of course, ask the question, how do I achieve this? My first question is, why are you even after this? You're probably just fine. But do you see a lot of people wanting to take unnecessary risk in retirement like this?
Yeah, I actually had a client and his wife came in the other day. I really had to refocus them. We started talking about risk, and I run through a risk test with them to kind of show risk versus reward and get a feeling of, what kind of risk somebody wants to take. And it came out with a lower number of what their portfolio needs to be built around to attain the interest growth that they're looking for. And so the wife turns to the husband and says, we want more growth in that, so we're going to take more risk. I'm like, it's not that. No, that's a negative way of thinking about it in the sense that your income, what you generate in retirement, and your budget big B word, right? Everybody hates that thing. It is something you have to look at in a responsible way. You can't sit there and go, hey, I want to take out $30,000 a year, so I'm going to go way more risky than I feel comfortable with because I want more income than that. That is not the solution, people. That puts you in a terrible, terrible place in retirement and puts you in an uncomfortable place where you're going to be stressed out every single day of your life because you have to get 15%. Otherwise, you can't live the way you want to live. Maybe it's not the best time to retire for you. Maybe we need to shovel away some more cash and things like that. That's where those conversations come in because you can't have a magic number because the number is far less important than the other ones, such as how much are you going to spend each year? How much do you need? What does your debt look like? What does your expenses look like? Those are the magic numbers, everybody. It's not a dollar amount.
I totally agree with that, Derrick. I think the problem is when you think about all those different things on the wheel that we look at, whether it's an income plan, when to take Social Security, your beneficiaries, doing your estate planning, your will, your trust, your power of attorneys, all of those different things, when you get too heavy on one of them, it doesn't work out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to focus on the whole picture, and that's where we are full retirement planners here, guys. We're not brokers. We're not just financial advisors. We deal with all the stuff that our industry has for years neglected. We talk about Medicare. We talk about taxes. We talk about income planning. We talk about Roth, all that stuff. Traditionally, your advisor hasn't wanted to touch. And selfishly, I'll say it is the very hard part about our job. And having you come over and bring money to me and grow it, that's nothing, right? I mean, that's day one kind of stuff for us, but how to take it out, because the strategy to grow your funds is going to be completely different than when you're in retirement. Absolutely, everybody, because you're continuing to contribute when you're working, you're putting more money away, there's different strategies in place, and when you're retired, it's totally different. All these other avenues that we're talking about are going to be super important to your retirement, and those are the things you need to focus on.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derrick or a member of the Hoyle Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyle Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyle, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyle is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyle is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.